Hello, hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from astrolada.com here with the second day of the Astrology Marathon 2021 with 13 amazing astrologers, my partners. And today I have as my guest the astrologer from Bulgaria, Sveti, who will be leading us through the sign of Scorpio for 2021 because her ascendant is also in Scorpio. So, hello, Tsveti.
Hi Lada, hi everyone. I am so happy and I'm really so excited to do this video with you. And I was very excited about the marathon as a whole because it's like great to hear another point of view and one more person sharing their insights and this leading us to our truth actually. So,
Wonderful. And what would you say, maybe if you can start with two, three sentences about the whole year? How do you feel it as an astrologer?
the whole year, you mean as a
No,
whole or for
no,
the
just
Scorpio
for
sign?
Scorpio.
For the
Or, I
Scorpio
mean,
sign. Well,
no,
for the
no, I mean for everyone. For everyone.
For everyone, well, I definitely think it's going to be a bit easier than 2020, and it will not be giving us such great challenges to overcome, but still, it will be offering some challenges because we will have a Saturn Uranus square all the time.
Mhm.
So this will be authorities again, and there will be some more rebellion again. There will be some riots, and people will be rising up, and in the name of humanity
Mhm.
more. And there will be there. I expect that there will be some turmoil, some more turmoil from the society and from whole groups of people, communities, because Uranus. That's what Uranus
Mhm.
actually rules,
Mhm.
and they will be against the authorities and against putting us in some kind of prison on a
Mhm.
more mundane level, I mean. And
Mhm.
also this will translate into the internal level for each of us personally, because we will also be able to see what kind of prison we create ourselves
Mhm.
within us, and how, and by having this challenge from Uranus through the square, each of us in different areas of life, we will see how this internal prison actually manifests on the outside through some circumstances, through some things that will happen to us and we will need to overcome. So it will be really exciting, I think, and it will not be easy, but I believe that squares are actually much needed, because if we don't go out of our comfort zone, we will never grow. So it will be challenging times, definitely, but also exciting, because Uranus will give us something totally unexpected,
Mhm.
something that we're not able to think of right now, even. So let's see.
Yes, and also the whole energy of Aquarius getting triggered, Saturn and Jupiter, and
Yes,
Uranus getting into the picture, which is again Aquarian energy. Uh, Definitely, there will be we won't be as constricted as this year, and there's something so much new things coming, excitement and new things. But people
absolutely.
fighting for their freedom. That's definitely people will awaken to this and say enough is enough. And I think the authorities will still be very strong, but
Yes.
their grip will not be as tight. It's just it cannot be with all this Aquarian Uranus energy anymore. It's not the Saturnian energy where the restrictions of Saturn Capricorn overpowers. So thank you. That's
Yeah.
a great summary.
And by the way, I just wanted to share that in the year 2000, when we had the Saturn Jupiter conjunction in Taurus, we had Uranus in Aquarius. It was the vice versa.
Oh.
So yeah, when I was looking at the at the planets, and it just I noticed this, and it was really yeah, I am very much interested to see if
It's
there
the
will be
other way
some.
around.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was the other way around, and I'm really very excited to see if the circumstances back then, and on a personal level even, actually will come to repeat
Mhm.
themselves
It's
somehow.
mirror image almost.
Yeah, it's a mirror image. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Thank
yeah.
you. Okay, Tsveti. And by the way, just to tell you, Each of the astrologers doing those videos is doing a promotion for the new year. It's valid till the end of the year. Sveti is doing a promotion of her horoscope of predictions, transits, and so on. You can check out on the link below if you want a personal reading with her for the year 2021, the transits. The promotion works only till the end of the year. Okay, Scorpio. Scorpio
Okay.
rising, sun or moon. And
Uh,
always put him emphasis on the rising. I, as astrologers, we advise you to do that.
Yes, absolutely. And on a more emotional level, the moon sign will be on a more internal level, will also be triggered. And the sun sign may be for day charts, for those people who are born during the day, will be more active. And yeah, the moon sign for night charts as well. And men and women, of course. Women with the moon and men with the sun. But still, I advise you to watch for the ascendant because the houses will distribute the correct way, so to say. Okay, so should I start with the Saturn Jupiter conjunction in the fourth house for
Yeah, go on.
okay. So Scorpios, we will have the Saturn Jupiter conjunction in our fourth house. This is a cardinal house, and this is a really strong position. This is a totally new beginning for us because not only that it's a whole new era that starts now, the era of Aquarius, and a whole new cycle of 200-year conjunctions in air signs, but also this happens at the 0 degree of Aquarius, which means a totally new cycle for us. And that will put the focus on fourth house matters, of course. So we will have some kind of anything related to family matters, to finding a place, a new place to live in, or maybe a place where we belong to, because the fourth house is our foundation, actually. So actually, with this Saturn Jupiter conjunction there, and with this new beginning, we might find a new self, a new foundation to develop from now on. And this will be a 20-year cycle until Saturn and Jupiter conjunct again. And also, I want to mention that Saturn and Jupiter are actually social planets. So whatever happens in our fourth house this year, this will actually define our social role for the next 20 years. And because it's the bottom of the chart and it's not an easy transit to have Saturn going through the fourth house, it will have, like, for a purpose. The end purpose will be for us to become more emotionally secure, because the fourth house is our emotional state, and to become, if we are in any kind of codependency, which is not good for us, which is stopping us from developing our true self, our spirit, and which is somehow intimidating our growth as spirits and as souls, then Saturn will somehow will do something to either show it to us or totally take it away from us. So it can be hard, of course, because codependency means some emotional instability and fear of letting go. But then at the end of the transit, 2.5 years later, when Saturn will be leaving Aquarius, actually, then when you look back, you will be really happy and hopefully glad for what happened, and you will be able to see the higher purpose of what happened and why this happened, why you had to go through such hardship or some delay, because Saturn is all of this delay, hardship, having to work hard, really hard. Um, so yeah,
It's
on
true
a
that it's almost like you don't see the results of Saturn while it's in the house.
yes,
And once it leaves, you're like, you turn back and you're like, wow, okay, that actually took me here or there. And the fourth house, it's like all the other water houses, the 8th, the 12th, it's really working on the internal security. And in Vedic astrology, the fourth house is called the house of happiness. This is emotional happiness. And I think Saturn and Jupiter, they will be working exactly on this. What is blocking your ability to feel happy And that's often is connected to something that happened to the family, karmic type of, in your early childhood, because the fourth house is the very beginning of life, and the family, the parents. So you might be working through some family karma and issues, definitely.
Yep. And yeah, in this line of thought, you might be working on some beliefs and on some emotional blockages that were installed into you by some family karma. I mean, like for generations back, not only during your childhood or when you were a kid. I mean, so you can work even when Saturn transits the fourth house, because it's a water house, it's ruled by Cancer. So I would say that it will be of great benefit for Scorpios to start working with a psychologist or with some family constellations, even because the fourth house is so much about karma and about former generations things and stuff. So breaking some family cycles in a
Mhm,
way.
mhm,
And yeah, and having the Uranus square with Saturn, breaking any kind of cycle which is holding you back will be even more highlighted. So yeah, I really think that working with a psychologist or with someone who will be guiding you through this process to somehow show you objectively what's going on emotionally with you will be
mhm.
really really helpful
I
this year. Yeah.
I had in 2020, in the year 2000, I just realized that I had Saturn Jupiter conjunction, the last one, in my fourth house from the ascendant, square Uranus from the first house, very similar. Now it's from the seventh. And that was exactly the year that I moved. I was 19 and I immigrated to UK. And now this is a 20-year cycle. I'm still an immigrant 20 years later. So it really set the tone for the next 20 years. And right now, when this cycle is finishing, are we thinking of moving to live in Bulgaria, going back? So maybe finishing this cycle. But that was a huge thing for me. So there's definitely something. And that's what I broke the family karma by immigrating, because my family have been uh, workers in the fields for generations and generations, and peasants, and I was feeling suffocated, and I was like, I need to get out of here. I need something bigger. So that was definitely a lot of those break. And unfortunately, I hurt the first year because I was separated from my parents. There is often this connection that you separate from family even when Saturn is there, that you that and that's sometimes that's the only way to break the karma. And we had really difficult karma with my family. We were fighting the last 2 years before the Saturn Jupiter conjunction, like crazy. I mean, with me, I was this teenager, and that was the only thing that ended it. So I moved off. And so definitely you take a different stance than than your family or generations before have been doing it. You find a way to do it differently, and to cut this connection.
Yeah. And now 20 years later you will be going back
My
practically. So you're
Yeah,
closing the cycle
yeah,
beautifully, I would say.
it's crazy,
Yeah.
yeah.
And fourth house is also about infants, having a baby, for example. So having Saturn going through the fourth house could indicate that as well, because it will create some, difficulties. Having a baby is not an easy task, and it will create this need to work hard and to take care, because the Cancer, to guard someone who is, helpless in a way, a baby. So having a baby, and especially when Jupiter will be touching the Scorpio's fifth house,
Big time Scorpio.
yes,
That's so
there might be some stuff going on in this direction. Also, the eighth house is triggered by the nodes, which rules pregnancies.
cool.
So many indications. If you don't want to have a baby this year and next year, please take care. Take
Oh my God. But this is so correct. My husband had in the last 3 years Saturn through his fourth house, and we had two babies, almost three, and Jupiter last this year as well. So he was the main parental figure. Let's say he was the one feeding them, dressing them up, taking them to daycare. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but it surely helped him grow emotionally because he was so much in touch with the kids. He probably got in touch with his emotions within him, and this helped him grow. So I nothing happens. Everything is on purpose. I mean, nothing happens by accident in our charts. So whenever even bad stuff, bad, I mean, whenever unpleasant and something that takes us out of our comfort zone, whenever something like that happens, we always need to remember that there is some purpose for that. And if we focus ourselves on the long-term goal, and yeah, and if we know it's for our growth, then it will help us heal in a way as well. And Scorpios know how to heal, but still, yeah. And now that I say heal as well, regarding this social role that is coming with this Saturn Jupiter conjunction in Aquarius, this will be maybe for Scorpios. This will be to start healing others, maybe to become the psychologist of the society, or maybe to change in a way the way a family is. A family is viewed, the way the family is being nurtured, maybe, you know, how we what's our attitude towards the family. Maybe
Mhm.
this will be one of the purposes and one of the goals the
And
Scorpios
even
will have.
starting businesses connected to anything to do with family, you know, s- something for the home, for the house, family decoration, building houses, investing in properties. That might be something that defines you for the next 20 years. Or anything connected to land, even to agriculture, to nurturing. Hospitality businesses is the fourth house as well.
Yep.
So you can, a lot of Scorpios can have like a and when you create something during a Saturn Jupiter conjunction, it's enduring. So if you are planning in any of those businesses, so doing daycare business, so doing a primary education for kids is also the fourth, up to high school. Is So it's any of those kind of businesses or initiatives you might thrive. And I kind of thought that Scorpios might become like the emotional support animal for others for a long time ahead,
They
you know.
very often are, although misunderstood, because sometimes they can be ruthless. And but you know, they said that the you know, the self-esteem, and when you need to hear something, it can't be in a delicate way. In order to hear it, sometimes you need a Scorpio to stress you. So
Mhm.
Scorpios have this role anyway, but now with Saturn Jupiter, maybe they will be more hurt. And also, what I like about Saturn Jupiter, I like that Jupiter will give the opportunity. There will be some, because Jupiter is a benevolent planet. It gives opportunities. It gives us a chance about some to do something. But Saturn will give us the you know, the discipline to do it, and maybe the patience. I hope so. And
Mhm.
yeah, because Scorpio is a fixed sign, maybe Jupiter will somehow illuminate a different focus for us, giving us a different perspective on how we view ourselves, how we view the family, the home, our emotional world. And maybe this will help us grow.
Mm.
So yeah, I
I
think
think that the only times there can be a big shift in consciousness is when the fourth or eighth or 12th house is activated. And the growth in consciousness starts with clearing up the old emotional blockages. And that's the work that happens in the fourth house, in the eighth house, in the 12th. So it's a period of clearing up karma, of clearing up emotional traumas from the past. And the change can be so imperceptible for others outside, but you notice it. And usually by the time Saturn moves into a fifth house, or even when Jupiter starts moving into a fifth house, it's a house where you start seeing it's time when you start seeing the external changes with your personality as well, and you as a human being.
yes, absolutely yes. By the way, I have prepared two slides which are very small. Can you just give me the rights to share?
Okay.
I think I have. Sorry, sorry, I missed it. Here, I prepared this white, which gives. Can you see my screen?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, I prepared this white, which shows all the planets. and
Yeah.
the degrees where they will be passing through in 2021, and
Okay.
what aspect they will make to Scorpio. So
Okay.
as you can see, there will be also some good aspects like sextiles and trine from Neptune. So Neptune will be a savior and Jupiter for a while. And yeah, and it's very easy to see here that it's all about fourth, eighth, and 12th house. Because you mentioned it, just mentioned it, about the transformation, and this will really be the year of transformation about for Scorpio, I think, because
Mhm.
the fourth, the second, and the 12th, and the fourth, the eighth, and the 12th houses, the water houses, they will be so much triggered, and
Mhm.
yeah, there this will be a lot of emotional and psychological work for Scorpio this year,
Mhm.
really a lot. But
I know.
yeah, it will be very on the internal level, and even when Mars will be Mars, because Mars is our ruler. Mars will be invisible from mid-year until the end of the year, practically.
Yeah.
So we will become even more introverted. I say
Wow.
we because I have a Scorpio ascendant, so I'm so much talking about me as well.
Yeah,
But
you're making this prediction for yourself. It's way more interesting.
yes, this is so true. During the time when Mars will be invisible in our chart, we will be even more introverted, even more hidden in a way, even more into our emotional world, searching, trying to find what triggers what's the motivation to do something. And the Scorpio sign is all about stop suffering and start healing others. But
Mhm.
in order to stop suffering, you really need to heal yourself first. And this year gives this wonderful opportunity for us to heal from any kind of trauma that we have, or even that we don't know we have, because the
Yeah.
fourth house is a very hidden house, the eighth house is also a very hidden house, and the 12th house is the house of undoing. And we will be having Mercury retrogrades in only in air signs, and the air signs actually fall into our water houses, fourth, eighth, and 12th. So it will be a gradual process. Like we will first have Mercury retrograde in Aquarius at the beginning of the year, from January the 30th until the February 21st, and this will be in our fourth house together with Saturn and Jupiter, and it will trigger even more the process, this starting process of our growth. And then we will have in May till the 23rd of June, we will have the eighth house triggered, which will dig out, dig even deeper into the subconscious to see maybe something happened when we were children, because eighth house rules childhood trauma, eighth house rules all hidden stuff. Maybe we will be able to really see some patterns, some models, something that we are doing and that is self-sabotaging us for not being able to grow and to manifest into the material world. And this can happen through an astrologer, a psychologist, any kind of guru, someone, dealing with mysticism, or maybe we ourselves will become so much interested into such matters. We
Mhm.
will want to to dig deep, to make research, because all these houses are related to research, and the Scorpio sign itself, we love research.
That's the thing. I think a lot of Scorpio will have a bit of a masochistic kick out of this. No, not masochistic, but they'll be like, the year will give them ample opportunity to go within, to question, to have like aha moments. Wow, that's why I'm behaving like that, because this is what my mom used to do. Or wow, I just remembered to start dreaming or seeing stuff, that things that have hurt you, like a trauma. And oftentimes, because Scorpio is such a tough ass sign, that they would not acknowledge when something painful happens. They'll say, well, there's way worse. There are people that are being butchered and whatnot. But the soul crashes, the soul fragments. Even if sometimes from a word, pieces of your soul can fragment. and from painful words. And you Scorpios, I've noticed that they always kind of like toughen it up. And this activation of Mercury will put into your subconscious houses of the soul and spirit, can make you realize what really upset you and traumatize you, that you did not give value to before, that you kind of buried. And a lot of those buried things will come to the surface. And the process itself is healing. You don't even have to go and relive it in past life regression. Sometimes you relive it in dreams, and you might start noticing, especially with the 12th house activation, that you're dreaming a lot about things that happened in the past. That And if you start having a similar dream all the time, it's probably something that traumatized you on some level, and that's how the soul works it out. Sometimes you're your best psychologist, and if you need a little help, little kick, an astrologer, someone who does energetic healing, a psychologist, all those people, a constellation, like Tveti said, family constellations. This will be
Yeah.
cathartic work for you.
And it's very interesting that you mentioned past life regressions, because we also have the North Node in the eighth house, which is very supportive for such work, I think. And actually, 2 weeks ago, I just had one, and I was so stunned by the results. It was not meant to be a past life regression, but this is what happened in the end. I have a friend who is studying theta healing, and she wanted to practice with me, and we actually went so far. It was so amazing. What an experience. I never thought this would be possible, and I was really able to see, really, I think I was able to break a pattern somehow.
Wow, tell me. Sorry, I need to hear this story. And I think you already started this, because Saturn and Jupiter are, they start acting in their conjunction even a few months before. So you're entering that stage. So you're going to go fascinated with this and probably start doing all
Yeah.
those things for a year.
It all happened like a kind of, it was kind of luck. It wasn't even planned, but the North Node, I think it was somewhere around the eclipse, or no, it was earlier. One, two, but the eclipse was still working, I think, because it was so unexpected, unplanned, and it gave me so much in terms of, I think I was able to break through
Can you
something.
tell me this? What?
Sorry?
Can you tell me if it's not too personal?
No,
What
it's not too personal. It was about my nodes. I have the South Node in Aquarius and the North Node in Leo. It's on my MC, and I was never able to somehow see how these nodes work for me.
Mhm.
And in these past life regressions, I would always see myself in the desert alone, all alone, all alone. Everybody, nobody talking to me, all alone. And in one, I was able to see three past lifetimes. And
Wow.
in one of my past lifetimes, I was a woman and I lost 9 children. And I was crying and I was all alone, all the time, all alone, like
Yeah.
the South Node in Aquarius, And I was
Well,
so distancing myself. I did. Oh wow, I'm getting goosebumps. It's true. I was so distancing myself from
you were
what.
social distancing from 1,000 years ago.
Yes, it was like I didn't want to feel the pain. It
I,
was
I,
so
I totally
painful.
understand you. I have the same positions, and I had 3 lifetime regressions, and I saw my South Node, which is past lifetimes in Aquarius. I was a total loner. I would
Yeah.
just sometimes look around the villages, but retreat back. I just didn't want to have to do with people.
The same for me. It was the same for me, and luckily I was able to hug this woman in the session. I somehow hugged her, and she became all light, like the sun. And then it dawned on me, oh my God, it's the North Node is all about you allowing yourself to feel so that you can shine. And it
Wow.
was so releasing, really, really. This was such an experience. I just can't
Oh,
believe it. I failed to understand this simple thing 40 years. I've
wow.
been trying to understand this, and I was given a gift. This was so such a great thing that happened.
Yeah, the Leo is the heart, going to the heart.
Yeah, and I was somehow able to touch this energy, the universal love somehow through hugging this woman. It was so strange. Now that I'm saying this, sharing this, it's really so strange to say this in words, but the experience was so vivid. It was like I was hugging pure love. It was so
Wow.
strange. Yeah, it was like wow. I don't have the words.
I mean, this is so much 12, 8, and fourth house, which are the
Yes.
biggest activations for Scorpio. They are kind of mystical experiences, let's call them, that you
Yeah.
can have.
Absolutely. Yes,
Wow.
and yeah,
Fun,
and
fun,
I,
fun, fun, Scorpios.
fun, absolutely, and also unexpected fun in a way because the North Node can be really, how do I say, unexpected in a way. You
Yes.
want something, you really crave something, you want something, and then it suddenly comes to you. It's like yeah,
And North Node gives it very fast, and it's not like a gradual process. And North Node being in your eighth house the whole year, Scorpios, eighth house is profound transformational healing. And I remember when the North Node was in my eighth house, and by the way, for you, Jupiter will trine because Jupiter's trine is a full aspect. So you have like the influence of Jupiter and the North Node in your eighth house the whole year almost. This is when both Jupiter and the North Node activate the eighth house. First of all, it's pregnancies. Let's not forget that. Second of
yes,
all, it's something happening that suddenly uh, a sudden shift of consciousness and ability to feel happiness, ability to feel like sudden healing of trauma. That's when I had the North Node and Jupiter transiting my eighth house. I suddenly, unexpectedly fell in love with my husband, who is a soulmate. It started as a private, secret thing because I was still married, unfortunately. And sometimes I've seen activation of the eighth house can trigger such, like a hidden relationship that starts, but it's one that can heal you. And I've noticed sexual healing is a thing.
yes,
I did not believe it, but for me, it was a sexual healing. And
yes, but actually,
suddenly,
the
from
house is it.
being in a low depression for years, I just broke through a barrier and I shed so much pain and trauma. And I was on the other side within a week. And I just felt like I could breathe. I can't explain it. It's like cutting off so much pain suddenly. And Rahu is very Uranus, and Jupiter gives you this sudden as well
Yes,
relief. So
yeah.
sorry. That's
So, Scorpios, if you are in a stable relationship and you don't want to lose it, be careful. And
no.
also,
Another thing is deepening of the intimacy, the sexual
yes,
intimacy.
it
You
can
can,
be with the
if you've
partner.
been blocked, if you've not been having much sex with your partner, you can now, something can happen that you really can be reconnect on a deep level, maybe discover tantra or whatever. But this can happen with an existing partner. That this the eighth house connection is a very deep one. It's not just two partner equally. It's about merging
Yeah,
together. So there is
it's
a very
becoming
strong
one.
possibility, even if you're single or married in a relationship, that you will enter such kind of interaction with another person that's so profound, and that is about it can be very sexual as well. And Victor calls the eighth house the soulmate house, where you find soulmates because
Yeah,
it's not just equal partners, let's partner, let's have goals together. It's more like, you're mine, I'm yours, we're we're like you complete me type of thing.
yeah. It is.
Okay,
It is, yeah.
sorry.
And it's all about, well, actually, this is a trait of Scorpio anyway, because, the eighth house is Scorpio house. So we know about, maybe we crave about this all our lives. And this year we will have the great opportunity to maybe experience this.
Such
What
depth,
we,
intensity of feeling. Yeah.
yes,
I think Scorpios will have a blast because that's their energy. The eighth house is activated so strongly, and they
yes,
can definitely uh, almost like come into their power.
yes, yes. So true. So beautifully said. And also, in terms of relationships, we will have Uranus transiting the seventh house.
Oh, someone suddenly someone very new comes into your
Suddenly,
life.
someone very new or someone very, very Aquarian, very, you can either attract someone who is very new and very untypical, very different from everything you ever knew, or maybe you will view the relationship that you have in a totally different way, and you will want to transform it. And because Uranus will be in a square to Saturn, practically quite the whole year, this will be, um, we will have the opportunity to see what exactly is driving us crazy in this relationship, and what exactly we would like to change there, because the square aspect, it's a difficult aspect, it creates tension. And usually, because it's a square and not an opposition, we cannot blame the other, but we will dig deep within ourselves to see what is bugging us and what is actually preventing a certain relationship to develop, to go on the next level. And we will be willing to work hard to do it, because Saturn is involved. And for maybe relationships which are not very stable and have some issues already, they will crack, and maybe you will let go of the relationship. But for those which are already stable, maybe the change will be a very positive thing. Maybe you held back for so long about something, and you created your own prison, and maybe nobody even asked you to do it. Maybe you did it yourself because you thought you had to do it. But Uranus will give the objectivity. Somehow you will know, on a, somehow you will be a side observer of what is going on, and you will see maybe how you create your own difficulties and your own prison without the others even expecting this from us.
And it's true, and it can even, you can tie it in somehow with that Saturn in your fourth house, like a family pattern, karma,
Yeah.
and start working on it. And but I also see that indeed some marriages might end a long-term relationship because such powerful activation in the fourth house of changing place of living, living circumstances, your family. There is a renewal there, which means something new and something ends. While Uranus in the seventh house, I see that many marriages that are not, let's say, aligned to yourself, will that are too stale, or marriages in which you did not express your needs, because Saturn and Jupiter in the fourth, you start becoming aware about your needs and that you're not expressing them. And because of that, I think there will be many marriages that break, or long-term relationships with big changes in the family. But at the same time, there is this other trend that we talked about of Jupiter activating the eighth house by trine and the north node there, that can trigger an intense sexual relationships for some of you. Even if one existing relationship breaks, there is this other undercurrent that feels like so much, so intense,
Yeah.
sensually, psychologically, as a
Mm.
connection.
Yeah.
But let's say, don't be scared if you're in a good relationship and stuff. It's kind of changing something there. It can be, it can mean relocating together as a family. It can mean, it's something, some big change. Uranus in the seventh demands a big change. Saturn in the fourth in the dynamics, and Jupiter in the fourth in the dynamics of how the family unit works, like relocation, changing something, and because there is help in the eighth house from the north node, and Jupiter, there can be healing that happens in that relationship through sexually reconnecting, through sharing and opening up about your fears as well. Because the eighth house is about trusting someone on a very deep level to let them all in. Maybe you've not been letting your partner fully in. So there'll be some big transformation of your relationships as well. And it's not going to be just psychological, it will be on a material, visible level that plays out in your life with your family circumstances and your relationship circumstances.
Yes, absolutely. And also, we should not forget that actually the square to the seventh house will be a square to the first house. So the ascendant will be triggered as well, which means that the ascendant is us. This is our awareness. So the level of consciousness that we have will actually also change. So the changes that will come will be triggered by ourselves, because by our own will, because the ascendant is, who we are and how we see ourselves, where we want to be actually. So having this, therefore, I have it here, the Saturn will actually become retrograde between the 6th and the 13th degree of Aquarius, which, so the Scorpios which are born if they're watching from the sun sign between the 29th of October and the 7th of November will be the most affected by this. And also the ascendant degree, the Scorpio ascendant degree between the 6th and the 13th degree will be most affected. And
Oh,
this
moon.
also holds true for the
Moon
moon.
Scorpio at 6 or 13 degrees, ascendant
Yes,
6 to 13 degrees.
that's my ascendant.
Oh,
I'm on 12. So I'm right there, three times a square. Hopefully, I will lose weight. Who knows? Because, the square can trigger me to work out a little bit more, to move a bit more, to somehow. And also, the south node in the second house, because we haven't mentioned it so far, we will have to let go of something in the second house in order to receive something in the eighth house, because they always go together. So maybe changing our habits, eating habits. Second house is food, how we rejuvenate as well. Maybe changing our ways, how we have rest as well, in a way. And also maybe letting go of things we thought were our talents in order to develop new ones, because the second house is also our talents. And maybe seeing our self-worth in a different way, so that we can receive from others, we need to let go a part of us to make space for them to come and to support us. Maybe we will need to delegate a bit more.
oh yeah, with this eighth house north node and Mercury going retrograde, then Mars will be there towards the autumn. It's very much about learning to receive and to open up to others, and to let others in to help you. But
Mhm.
Katie, don't kid yourself. You'll probably get pregnant.
No,
Something you-
I think I'm over with this. Now, well, yeah, we'll see. Of course, you never know. This is God's work. This we have our free will, but things happen. So
Are you married? Are you married?
yeah, for 25 years with the same person. We have been in the same school.
Time to change things up. I mean, not change your partner, but
No,
make
I
some
don't want to
exciting
change my
changes.
partner, but definitely I think that the relationship will change in a way. He
Mhm.
has Leo ascendant, so Saturn will be falling into his seventh house, while Uranus is falling into mine. So there will be some shift, definitely.
Yeah, you can decide to do something totally new, relocate to a new country, or
Or maybe I can finally decide to do only astrology and leave my daily job.
yeah, and that will make a big change in your family life and
Yeah,
in the relationship. So, oh yeah,
yeah. I see it in this way, but let's see. Hopefully.
yeah. With Uranus, there are always surprises. So,
Yes, yes.
hope for
That's
the
why,
best. Hope for the best,
yeah,
but
I
prepare
don't
to
plan.
roll.
And I have Uranus in the first, so it's coming from the first and it's crossing the seventh, so it's making its opposition soon. And for those born in the 1978, 1980s, 81, 80, 81, they will have this Uranus opposition. I think Donnie mentioned this yesterday in the
The
Taurus.
late 70s, especially. The
Yeah.
80s, the 81 is
78,
later. Yeah.
yes, 7, 8, 7, 9, they will have the Uranus opposition this year, maybe. And
So the midlife crisis, Sveti.
yes,
What
me
is
too.
like being with the same man for 20, how many years?
25.
Look at that, Taurus on the seventh house for
Yes.
Scorpio rising, loyal to
But
the.
ruler in the sixth. So, but I am willing to make amends and develop. So, we met at school. My ruler is in Virgo, so we met it at school.
Wow.
In Aries, I mean, yeah. Anyway, so yeah. Okay, so many changes also regarding the seventh house matters. This involves not only personal relationship but also partnerships. So maybe someone new will appear on the scene and you will make some kind of business together,
Oh,
or
yeah, it can be
maybe some
business.
business relationship will end, and you will find new ones and change in this
Yeah,
direction.
that's definitely.
Yeah, so
Also, meeting someone very quickly and moving to live with them because there is activation of changing place of living and a new energy in relationship. So with
Yes.
Uranus. I remember my husband met me exactly when Uranus was on the cusp of his seventh house, trining his Venus. And of course, I was from the other end of the world. I was an astrologer. I was totally like a different kind of alien animal that he's never seen. And he's never been out of the country. He's never met any foreigners. And suddenly he gets married within 2 3 months to someone from the outside. So it's exciting. Someone very different comes into your life.
And strangely enough, in the year 2000, when the square was in the other houses, in the other way around, so Uranus in the fourth and Saturn in the seventh, my husband left for the United States and he stayed there 2 years. And I left for Germany. So we had a separation. It was only temporal, but still this worked out. And it was totally unexpected. We didn't plan it at all. I got a scholarship, he got a scholarship, and he left and I left. And we were like having this Uranus-like long distance relationship. Yeah,
Ah,
he was like 7,000 kilometers away, miles away. It was
yeah, so that's what can happen long
it was
term.
very hard and very exciting at the same time, but yeah.
Yeah, on and off relationships
Yeah.
happen with us, but they're
So
always so exciting. It's nothing like you feel flat about your partner. It's like there is
absolutely.
always this kind of like you feel like a schoolgirl. And
Yeah. I was a schoolgirl at that time, but yeah, the relationship was tested actually. So
absolutely,
that's what
yeah.
I do.
So
Yeah.
if you survive that test, guys, it's another 25 years for you.
Let's see if we'll survive the next one. It's coming. So yeah. Okay. And um I think I haven't said anything about Neptune and Pluto yet. And the reason why I will be focusing more on the slower planets is that Venus, Mars, Mercury, I only mentioned them, but they're so fast. They usually don't have such a great impact in the long term. They
Mm.
might have some, daily stuff happening. They might cause some things, trigger some things happen, but still it will not have such a great impact like the collective planets because they're so slow, and Saturn will be squaring the ascendant 3 times, for example, and the descendant and Uranus. So it will go it will make a first square, it will set the theme, what it will be all about, then it will go retrograde, go back for a second time, make these aspects again, and maybe give us a second chance. The retrograde planet is a second chance to
Mm.
look from a different perspective at the same old issue. And then when it passes for the third time, it will give us the result actually of what we actually wanted to achieve.
Mhm.
And if we put the effort 3 times, as you like to say, 3 times more efforts, but then better results and more stable results. With Saturn, they will stay for quite a long time.
Yeah.
So stable results, definitely. And yeah, and we have the North Node supporting, so it's really a good omen, I think, with so much internal work.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Neptune will be moving between the 20th and the 23rd degree of Pisces. So anyone who has the ascendant between these degrees, or who is a Scorpio born between the 13th and the 16th of November, they will have, it's actually the fifth house, I will correct it because it's a PDF, they will have Neptune in the fifth house. And it will be quite supporting. It will be supporting the ascendant. So we will have a way out somehow to the divine as well, because Neptune also rules the divine. But also we will be able to escape a bit from the hardship, and we will have some way out through dreaming, through meditation, through music, even anything that through movies, watching movies, or and this can trigger as well those type of activities related to Neptune. This can also trigger some kind of change internally within us, but in an easy flow way, because it's a trine. So we might not even come to notice this. it might happen so, like Neptune likes to do that. So easy, so you don't notice it, and then you suddenly wake up and you're another person. It's so Neptunian. So you don't even realize, or through dreams, also through children, through playing with children, through taking care of children, because Neptune will be in the fifth house as well. So lots of news, so to say, coming
News.
to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will be
Creatively, I
inspired.
think it might be really, yeah,
Yeah,
really good.
inspired by the divine. We will be able to dive in because, you know, Neptune rules Pisces, and Pisces are always two Pisces, one going deep, taking whatever it takes and taking it out for the outer world. So we will be able to go deep within ourselves, or metaphorically, I mean, or even go deep to research something which is really interesting for us, a hobby. Fifth house is all about hobbies.
And let's not forget his love affairs as well, being in
Yeah.
love. Those born within those only those 3 degrees, but still, uh, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, they can have some extraordinarily magical love. They don't feel so much the Uranus energy, those degrees, but they will feel both Jupiter energy, those degrees, and the Neptune. And for them, sorry, not Jupiter, it's just the Neptune.
Yeah.
uh, and for them, that can indicate something kind of soulmate connection with a partner. This is the Neptune feeling. It's not just about the sex. It's not just about it's way more. You'll be like, this is my soulmate. Our souls have been together before. And with the eighth house activation that you will be having, for sure.
So yeah, bringing usual romantic life and how do I say, erotic sex into the other level, to the other level,
Yeah.
to making it more like soulmate sex as
Yes.
well. And
Exactly.
Pluto will be helping a bit, because Pluto will be sextiling actually the ascendant of Scorpios um, between the 24th and the 26th degree of ascendant, and born between the 16th and the 20th November. So Scorpios born on the 15th, 16th, 17th, they overlap. Neptune and Pluto will be working together at the same time. So maybe exactly these 3 days, 15th, 16th, 17th, will be somehow more affected into this kind of soulmate relationship,
Exactly.
or yeah, because Pluto will also be sextiling the ascendant, and Pluto is very deep, as we know. So but it comes from the third house, so it will also involve deep kind of communication, the ability, developing our ability to see deep, in daily conversations, in, you know, in communication, online stuff. So we will have like insights
Some
coming from
transformational brainstorming here, or discussions can happen, and
as well.
conversations
Yes.
with friends. So basically, the Scorpios born from the 13th of November to the 20th, or from the basically from the 20th degree to the 26th degree in Scorpio, they're having a lot of lovely influences, either Neptune or Pluto,
Yeah.
that are strengthening. And they're out of the Uranus craziness, by the way. They're not affected by it, at least not yet, not in
Mm,
2021. Uh,
yeah.
so yeah, see how it's in, so like the middle, and the earlier, actually the earlier till the first 15 degrees Scorpios, they're having the more difficult changes, but much bigger and way more visible, while the second batch, after from the 20th onwards, they're having support and easy influences, and they're not going to have those disruptions in their life, but they're not going to have huge changes either, but they'll have a lot of support in what they endeavor, or in personal relationships if it's the moon or the ascendant in those degrees, and so on.
Yeah. Yeah, so true. And at the end of the year, actually, Venus will go retrograde in Capricorn in this 26th degree, actually, where Pluto will be.
Oh, wow.
So there will be some topics of the third house again. It will be retrograde until I think the 29th of February 2022. So some third house matters again, the communication style, maybe, someone from a sibling or someone from our immediate environment might come back to us to discuss something, to clear out some old issue or stuff. So yeah, Venus will be also um, helping a bit, giving us a second chance, I mean.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
these are the notes. I had some, but we actually mentioned everything.
Mhm.
Uh, maybe I think I didn't mention that for eighth house careers, when
Oh,
we
okay.
have the
Yes.
note, when we have the note transiting the eighth house, it can mean a sudden rise in a higher status in careers which are related to occult, esoteric, any kind of deep research involving exploring deep exploration of a certain topic, anything taboo, mystic, occult studies, past lifetime regressions. So anything related to this can really be increased. Can You can have a sudden rise there.
Yeah, or like someone like your friend, for example, if she's Scorpio, who does theta healing and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a Virgo.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but yeah, she helped the Scorpio, so she was in there. Yeah. So the eclipses. These are the final ones I have for the Scorpio ascendant, and the eclipses will be on a plane which will be like easier for us because they don't have Sagittarius, and Gemini don't have direct connection to Scorpio. But one of the eclipses though will be in Taurus, because the node will be on an earlier degree in Gemini, and then we will have the degree actually in Taurus. And this will be on the 19th of November 2021. And this will again trigger the seventh house. And seventh house, as we already discussed and mentioned, it's all about our relationships. And maybe this will be really, really important for Scorpios in terms of what they want to let go and who they want to be. They will be asking maybe the final, how do I say, the final time they will be asking, what do I want from this relationship? Do I want to stay in this relationship? What's confining me, and so on? And maybe they will have the answers
Mhm.
finally. Yeah, on this plane. Who am
Yeah, I
I?
think that's the most important for Scorpio, this eclipse on the 19th of November.
Yes, yes, yes.
Like a
The other ones
culmination
are,
as well in relationships. So something coming to fruition. Sometimes I've seen it taking a relationship to the next level when it's a full moon.
yes, yes, absolutely. So yeah, and having Uranus also in Taurus, but not at such a late degree anyway. um, the seventh house will be really triggered, and
Yeah.
relationship will be triggered to change. So Scorpios will definitely be asking themselves, where
Mhm.
do I feel restricted? What's suffocating me? Where do I want to be? What do I need to do differently in order to have the relationship that I dream of? And
Mhm.
do I want to break out of this relationship? Is it worth working on it, or should I set free? And also, when I think of Saturn, what responsibilities should I let go of and delegate, probably with the eighth house triggered? And yeah, it will be definitely a very exciting year for Scorpios, I think. And not the easiest one, because the fixed signs will be very much triggered with this Saturn Jupiter conjunction, and also Uranus is in a fixed sign in Taurus, so the fixed sign cross, so to say, will be really triggered. um,
No, that's when the most interesting things happen, when you get activated with difficult aspects. Till
yeah,
then, life is a little bit. you know.
Yeah, that's true.
So now starts the rock and roll and the
And we also had this Capricorn stellium that was in the 2020. It was actually sextiling our ascendant sun or moon. So it was not so much triggering in the negative way. And it was helpful in terms of um, communication.
Mm.
We, especially the last year, I can say for myself, I was so much triggered and pushed, absolutely pushed, to start talking. I was so mute before.
Ah,
I care. I was so mute. And
discovered your voice.
sorry.
Discovered your voice.
Yes, I discovered my voice talking because I was singing before, and now I discovered my voice in words, really. And
Wow.
this is so new for me. I didn't know I had a voice to talk.
Did you started speaking publicly or?
Yes, I started making videos with Victor, for example, and like I never really even thought of running in this competition that you made, but I somehow felt courageous. When Jupiter entered Capricorn, my third house, I felt the courage suddenly. It was
Yeah, that's when we launched you on the website.
yes,
Third
exactly.
with
It was so
media
strange.
presence and
Yeah, I never even thought of it really. I have been studying astrology for 5, 6 years already, and I never even thought of it. But it
wow.
happened. It was an
Yeah,
opportunity. Yeah, this
yeah.
is how it happened for me, and Saturn gave me the experience. So yeah, Pluto gives me the depth of thought, and yeah, Jupiter gave me the opportunity.
And now Saturn and Jupiter in your fourth house, they're gonna, whether you want it or not, maybe force you to start working from home.
I am already because we are, they closed the office, so we don't go there so often.
It
So
can
I
mean
have
you
been,
start family business as well, huh? A fourth house, Saturn Jupiter conjunction for
could
Scorpio.
be,
If they want to
yeah,
start family businesses from their homes, this is fantastic. This conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter.
yes, and it is promising, very promising if you start a family business in this with this conjunction. It's gonna stay because you will have the opportunity and the inspiration, and still you will have the discipline and you will know how to plan it because Saturn is all about plans and schedules and patience as well. You will have to know it will take time. So be patient because it's the very, first degree. So whatever you start now, the results will probably show when Saturn leaves the house. And something I wanted to mention at the very beginning, but I just remembered it, so I will mention it anyway. That a certain aspect, in order for it to really play out in the chart, um, it has to be, in order to work on a personal level, I mean, it has to be in the natal chart as well in some form. Otherwise you will not be feeling it so strong. So if you have, for example, natally Saturn Jupiter conjunction, this Saturn Jupiter conjunction will play out even stronger for you. Or if you have this Uranus Saturn square, or the node squaring, or a Neptune trining the ascendant, you will feel it even stronger for you.
That's when it really manifests.
Yeah, that's exactly when it manifests the
Or
the
maybe I can
most.
give you another tip as a Scorpio, because my husband just went through Saturn and Jupiter in the fourth house, and he started a career from home while watching the kids, and he got invested into heavy metals. Fourth house is anything that comes from the earth, whether it's silver, gold, uh, uranium, or any kind of steels and ores. And because he already has the ruler of the second there, so for him that was a possibility. But he made more than I did. And I'm like, I've been doing this for 10 years and you suddenly come and it's like, but that might be for Scorpios because of the Saturn Jupiter conjunction, who are interested in stocks or any such kind of things. you might find a gold mine opportunity in something connected to investing in businesses or investing in stocks that are connected to the fourth house, or
Yeah.
starting any businesses connected to digging things from the earth of some sort as
Yes.
well.
And now that you say, Jupiter is actually ruling our second house. So it could
Yeah,
be, you
yeah,
know, even
Scorpios, sure.
even stronger. Yeah.
Or invest your money in property, because the rule of the second in conjunction with Saturn, Saturn rule of the third house, you can be very skillful and knowledgeable how what to do with your money, invest it in property or land in some way. That can be a good bet for Scorpios as well. Scorpio rising in particular, but the moon second, and the sun, the moon and sun second.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you so much, Sveti. That was so in depth. I love this conversation. I love this conversational form that you did. Thank you for preparing so well.
Thank you,
And
Loda. Thank you for this opportunity. I was very glad and I was really excited and I'm so grateful. And I want to thank everyone who will be watching the video and everyone who is sending such nice energy and giving their comments and time to comment. And yeah, it's really appreciated. That's something I wanted to say for a long time. So yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you.
oh, your third house rewards now, Saturn, Jupiter coming out. It's like, I remember that when we introduced you, you got like 50 or 100 horoscopes. And you were overwhelmed with writing and speaking and doing
I
videos.
was
That's another thing of the third
It
house. And you
was
were like,
so
I'm not
overwhelming,
sure
and
if I want to make them.
I was very overwhelmed with my daily job as well at that time, and homeschooling suddenly, and it
Third
was
house. Everything
really
third house. Yeah.
yes, it was really hard, and it's not easier now, but let's see how it goes.
They're still in your third house. Don't forget Saturn,
Yeah,
Jupiter.
at least now I'm prepared. I mean, I have this other attitude. I am a different person, and I'm calmer, and yeah, it's different now.
You got used to it, basically. That's
Yes,
what
I
it
got
is.
used to it. I have a plan now. I have 3 planets in Virgo, and it's really important for me to have a plan. Now I have a plan, so it's much easier.
Wow. Thank you so much, Sveti. And if anyone would like a reading with Sveti, uh, she has this promotion going on for till the end of the month, basically for your transits or prediction for 2021. So contact her, and yeah, happy new year, Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, and all of those things. Thank you. Bye bye, Sveti.